Hi everybody, my name is Luke and I'm just recording a short little video for you guys. Unfortunately I can't make it in today to speak to you all, which is a great shame. But anyway, I'll do my best to tell you all a little bit about the campaign that I'm running. So I've partnered with Help Them Hope, who is it's a Peruvian NGO, and their mission is to provide educational scholarships for youth with disabilities, and they help disabled people become basically more independent and contribute to society. And there's a great need for this throughout South America. It's 1/3 of children, which is a huge number, who don't actually attend school, have a disability. So you can clearly see that the work they're doing is it's in great demand throughout not only Peru but in Latin America as well. So they're really making a huge difference and a great charity. So yeah, I've partnered with Help Them Hope in a campaign that's called Dream Big, Rise Higher, which is my journey to the roof of the Americas with one of my best and oldest school friends, Hugh Taylor, who's also English and from the UK. Now we're going to be setting off at the end of this week on Saturday. I'll be leaving to Argentina to scale the highest mountain in all of the Americas at 6,962 meters. It's going to be a huge challenge, of course, but we're also, I'm trying to raise $10,000 to support Help Them Hope in order to provide some of the disabled youth with educational scholarships and give them, the future that they deserve and an opportunity. And the last sort of objective, I think, of the campaign is to inspire others to pursue their own dream. Because if I can do this, I'm sure all of you, if you put your minds to it, can achieve what you want to do in life. But then again, how did I end up coming to do a project like this? In order to understand that, I think it's important to hear a little bit about my previous story and how it all began. So in 2012, I came to Peru on, I was actually on a family holiday with my father, and went to the Cordillera Blanca, and that was the first time I ever saw Mount Huascaran, which, as I'm sure you all know, is the highest mountain in the Earth's tropics and also in Peru at 6,768 meters. And when I went there, I saw the mountain and looked up, a huge, great thing, massive two white peaks, like sort of shooting out of the blue sky into where you really can't see the top from where you stood at the bottom. And at that moment, I don't know, just something happened, and I just thought, what's stopping me from going and climbing that mountain and really pushing myself, testing myself, and doing something new as well at the same time, having an adventure. So a year later, I returned, having been training, and I planned another charity campaign, also to raise money for this time for a different charity, but for impoverished children from a rural community. And so I came back a year later and spent 2 weeks basically acclimatizing prior to the climb, which is great fun. You're spending a lot of time in the mountains, slowly going up and slowly going down, and some of the scenery and the places you visit really are incredible. So that was an adventure all of its own. So when the day came, unlike most normal people, I actually set off with the owner of the lodge I was staying at. He was also English, and we walked for 9 hours with a huge machete, chopping our way through all these bushes and overgrowth, because it wasn't actually on a path, and this was only just to get to base camp. So I arrived at base camp pretty tired, but nonetheless I did make it to base camp, and then I spent the night there, and the following day, that was when we made our way to Refuge, which is at 4,900 meters. And this is when something that really changed the mood of the climb basically happened. So when we were arriving at Refuge, I came across two Colombians who were both very lucky to be alive, as upon getting closer to them I could see that they're in a bad condition, and one of them had blood all over his face, he had teeth missing, broken ribs, and was having a lot of difficulty breathing, and that was because they got caught in an avalanche just going from Camp 1 to Camp 2. And this was at this moment that I really, started to wonder what I'd got myself into, and I became quite serious in terms of, making the right decision and seeing whether this was going to be a good idea to do it. But anyway, we got up the following morning and made our way to Camp 1, which is at 5,400 metres, and that was the first time that I set foot on a glacier, which was quite an experience in itself, quite unusual. And amazing sunsets as we approached Camp 1. And then this was a dangerous part. It was going from Camp 1 to Camp 2, and this is where the Colombians got caught in an avalanche, because they've got these huge boulders, they're called ice seracs, that can give way at any point in time. And so we left very early in the morning, and luckily we made it to Camp 2 at 6,000 metres without any problems. So at Camp 2 we spent the night there. There was a lot of snow. We arrived at 2 o'clock and it was snowing all afternoon. So when we woke up the following morning, which is when we were going to make our summit attempt, you have to follow these little flags up all the way up to the summit. And we got so far up to the summit, and we lost the flags. And it was at this point that we came across a huge crevasse that was impassable. We could not cross, and we had to turn back. So we were going back down a slope that's pretty much that steep, sort of 60-70 degrees. And the guide actually gave me too much rope on a very dangerous section, and I slipped and fell about 4 or 5 meters, crashing back into the ice wall. And if it hadn't have been for the small 10-centimeter ice screw that the guide had, put into the up above, that I would have fallen probably 250 meters down to the floor below, and I certainly wouldn't be recording this video. So that was quite a difficult moment, because we had to go back to Camp 2 and then spend the next 24 hours in the tent waiting to make another summit attempt the following morning. Obviously all I could think about was what had nearly just very happened, and the fact that I came close to losing my life. So it was quite a difficult mental test. However, the next morning we woke up, it was a perfect blue sky, and we'd found the route, and we made it to the summit. And that was when I stood on top of Peru, and one of my dreams, my own personal dreams, had been achieved. And I also hit my target of raising a considerable sum of money for the other charity and change the lives of other people. So that's how I got into all of this. But really, for me, it wasn't so much about the actual adventure itself. It was more about the journey and actually getting, to the point when you're leaving, ready to climb these mountains. That's one of the most inspiring and exciting things for me that I've learned. Is it's all the people you meet along the way. You meet amazing people, and you also learn a lot. I mean, running a campaign and organising everything and trying to market it, you pick up a lot of new skills along the way, and I think that's a very important part of any adventure that you may plan or any idea that you may have. So I'd like to leave you just with a few messages and a few points that I've learned anyway from all my adventures. I think firstly it's about finding something you love doing. As at the end of the day, we have so many different choices, but it doesn't make sense to choose something that you don't really enjoy. And I'm convinced that if you do enjoy something, or you find something that you enjoy doing, then you're going to be a lot more passionate about it, and in the long term a lot better at what you choose to do. Point number 2, I think, is don't listen to the people that say you can't achieve anything. There'll be lots of people that tell you you can't do something, but if you know and you're focused enough on making that dream, that goal become a reality, then you will get there. So just be confident in yourself, I think. And the other thing is, don't be afraid of failure. Lots of people don't choose to to do something great, or to follow through with an idea because they're afraid of failing. Now I think that's a great shame, because you're going to fail in life, and it won't just be once, it'll be many times. But from failure you can learn a lot. So just don't be afraid of failure. You will always learn from setting out on trying to achieve something. Now I think point number 4 is think big and aim high. If you set yourself small little achievements, don't expect to achieve anything big. And there's no reason why you shouldn't aim high. If you think, as I said, if you think you can do it, then just aim for the biggest thing you think you can do, and just go for it. Now lastly, and this is really important, is to always learn from your adventures and experiences. So whatever you choose to do, just make sure that you find a way that it's adding some form of value to your future and to those around you. And that's when helping others, I think, is probably one of the most rewarding and self-fulfilling experiences that you can ever do. So I'll let you know how I get on, which will probably be sometime in New Year, in 2016, but hopefully it will be with good news, and I will be back safely. Thank you very much.